Okay, so I did not expect this chapter to come out so early. I mean, I just posted my spoilers video for this chapter just a few hours ago, so I guess you clearly don't have to watch that now, but let's just get into the chapter, guys. There's a lot to talk about here. So we're seeing Rika in full after Yuta called for her when he activated the ring, and Ishigori and Takako are just amazed by this, right? Especially Ishigori, because he was just starting to believe Yuta was running out of cursed energy in the last chapter, and they're getting the idea here that Yuta's far from exhausted still. And we're seeing Rika, she's telling Yuta, which one do you want? And by literally unzipping her chest, Rika shows him a bunch of cursed weapons, and it turns out we're finally getting an explanation as to what this current Rika is all about. And the explanation says Rika is the external storage of cursed techniques and cursed energy that Rika Orimoto left for Okotsu after she was released. Only when he's connected to Rika through the ring can he use cursed techniques, fully manifest Rika, and obtain Rika's cursed energy for himself. This state lasts for 5 minutes, so it's not clearly stated if this version of Rika is either his Shikigami, a vengeful spirit, a vessel, or maybe a combination of any of these, right? The most we're being told now is that after Rika Orimoto's spirit passed on, she left behind the actual vessel of the vengeful spirit, and this is where Yuta keeps more of his cursed techniques and cursed energy. And like how we find out later in the chapter when he uses cursed speech, there's only certain abilities that he can use when he connects to Rika through the ring. And of course this applies to only certain techniques, but it includes the copy ability. And I know I haven't talked about it yet, but even when he activates his domain expansion, we see the ring start to glow. So I'm assuming to even activate his entire domain expansion would also mean to use the ring. But we're finding out that in this state, he can only fight at 5 minutes max. And this is interesting because the fight was already at a high pace, right? Especially for Yuta, who's been worrying about the other colonies and the citizens he gathered in the stadium. So it's just getting more and more challenging for him with every new chapter. But for someone like Yuta, who has so many abilities under his belt regardless, it's good to know that there's at least some limit to his power. It makes you wonder if we'll actually be able to see him have to fight even after these 5 minutes, because it's not made clear if he can still use his own cursed energy that he keeps in his body, or even the reverse curse technique once his 5 minutes are over. In other words, if he can still even fight for the rest of the Colon game once his 5 minutes are up. So I'm curious what will happen by the end of it. So when he chooses his weapon, it's like this sleeve that covers his entire right arm. We're not told what it does for him exactly, but after he puts it on, we see Rika jump into the air after Takako. And right when she thinks she's ready to fight them both, she notices Yuta covering his mouth, and he activates his cursed speech, telling Takako don't move. And this just has her frozen, and from the front and the back, she's just getting cooked here. And in the distance, we can see Ishigori. Yuta tells Rika to act like a springboard for him to go after Takako, but Ishigori now joins in after Yuta goes on the chase. And with no choice, Rika has to tank the attack head on, using her bare hands to deflect the blast here. But of course, Ishigori is no chump. After she blocks it, Rika says that hurts, and then just swings at Ishigori, sending him flying backwards. And right when Rika's going to follow up on it, Ishigori's able to land a clean hit on her. She goes crashing into the roof of one of the surrounding buildings. And like we saw in the last chapter, when it comes to a brawl, Ishigori had no problems being able to overwhelm Yuta, so it only made sense that we're seeing him do this to Rika now. And getting back to Yuta versus Takako, we see Yuta pull something from his hair. He's summoning these small Shikigamis now and going for the attack. And Takako says here, "It's always you, Fujiwara, blocking my way. Are you that scared of what I can become?" And then we get some narration here talking about how in her human life, she basically died as a martyr for someone who killed his own people. And because she was an assassin, she was denied a name of her own until she was chosen to be this scapegoat for the public to execute. So I guess because the public wanted their justice, this meant they also wanted a name to hate, which I'm assuming was hers. But again, because she never had one, it's like a spit in the face from whoever this mysterious person was. And then suddenly she feels the attacks from Yuta's Shikigami and notices that they're actually mimicking Druv's technique. Remember, Druv and Kurorushi were 2 of the 4 Sendai players who had the colony in a stalemate until Yuta showed up. But before she could react in time, he sends her flying to where Rika and Ishigori are fighting. So now with all 4 of them here, we're seeing Yuta confronting Takako, saying, "I don't know what my ancestors may have done to you, but if you live only for yourself, there will always come a day where you can't go on." And she's furious at this point. She's telling Yuta to shut up, that he has no place to speak as someone who's already made a name for himself. And this is mainly coming from how she believes he's a Fujiwara. So even though her bias is showing, it's almost like she's admitting that at one point in her life, she was a selfless and caring person. Now, obviously, I'm not sure how accurate that is, right? I mean, she was an assassin, so she's conditioned to being cold-blooded, but she's talking as if she knows the flip side to what Yuta's talking about. But then we're seeing Ishigori behind Yuta. He's thinking to himself, just shut up already, we aren't here to chat. And then at at the same time, we get one of the craziest cliffhangers in the entire manga, if not the craziest. We see all three of them call on their domain expansions. So it's officially confirmed Yuta does in fact have his own domain expansion. And what's even more than that is both Takako and Ishigori also have their own domain expansions. And this is just so good because I'm curious whose domain will be more dominant over the other, right? Because it seems like they're all gonna just size up each other. So man, this was just an amazing chapter, definitely worth the wait. I just can't wait to see how the next one goes. But alright guys, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what I had to say, then please leave a like, I'd greatly appreciate it. And please let me know in the comments what you all think, what you agreed or disagreed with. And if you're interested in more Jujutsu Kaisen videos, then make sure you subscribe. I'll be doing more here on the channel like always. And yeah, again, thank you so much for watching guys. Have a great day.